Castle Morne is one of the first large-scale dungeons players will encounter in the Lands Between. As a minor legacy dungeon, it has some strong enemies and in decent numbers, making it great practice for what threats Stormveil Castle, a true legacy dungeon, holds within its walls. It's also home to one of Elden Ring's legendary armaments, as well as a few other useful weapons and items. Hello fellow Tarnished, I'm Stonebear13. Join me as we head to the rescue of Castle Morne. Getting to Castle Morne is a challenge in and of itself, with a damaged golem archer taking pot shots at you as you approach. Down him, and once inside, grab the Site of Grace, and head up the lift. The courtyard is a gruesome sight, with plenty of Misbegotten celebrating atop a burning corpse pile, and a few dogs feasting off to the left. Be wary here, as the Misbegotten can chain pull, and the dogs have a very large aggro radius, so be careful that you don't bite off more than you can chew. That being said, don't fret too much if you die, as you do respawn close by. Once cleared, head up the flaming pile and go inside. Immediately to your left, behind the barricades, will be a chest, and within it, the Claymore. The Claymore is a really solid greatsword, performing rather high physical damage compared to most other greatswords, and it has a low stat requirement of 16 strength and 13 dexterity to wield. On top of being strong, it comes with a unique moveset, turning your dodging, crouching, and heavy attacks into a lunge, adding a ton of range. This weapon skill is also Lion's Claw, which is one of the single best weapon skills in the game. This is extremely popular within the community, and this weapon is one of the first instances in the game where you can encounter it. Moving on, we'll head down and outside. Don't worry about saving the Godric Knight, as if you do, he'll just try to kill you anyways. So wipe out those 3 enemies and head up the ladder. Up top, instead of continuing past the gallows and up the next ladder, we'll instead go to our left and clear out all the enemies here. At the end of the rampart, guarded by the 2 Misbegotten, will be the steel wire torch. The steel wire torch is a fairly normal torch, with the exception that it lies to you and it has Fire Breather as a skill. This torch does not, in fact, boost fire damage by any sense, spell-related or otherwise. And if this text is referring to its weapon skill, then I'm truly disappointed. Aside from Fire Breather and this weapon's skin being kind of cool, this is just a normal torch, and unfortunately is rather unexciting. Backtracking where we came from, head up the ladder to the left of the gallows and drop down to the next area below. Here, you'll immediately be rushed by a Misbegotten, who will charge as soon as you land. I do want to note real fast that this area is immediately accessible from the courtyard if you go beyond the fiery corpse pile and take out the Pumpkinhead, as well as the lone Misbegotten, taking the ladder in the back of the path. Either way you go, the Misbegotten up top will still rush you immediately, so be ready for him. As you move forward, there is 2 flying Misbegotten to be wary of, as they deal surprisingly high damage. Once they're dealt with, you can either take the ladder or choose parkour, and head northeast to find Edgar, who you can give Irina's letter to. A full video breakdown of Irina and Edgar's questline will be coming in the near future, as well as all other questlines in due time. Once you're done with that, head back southwest and hop over the broken wall to your left. Be sure to grab the Site of Grace and head down the rocks to the rooftop below. Here, rather than jumping across to the next rooftop to your north, walk off the ledge to your west and grab the stone sword key from the platform below. Drop down, and from here, you can just move forward. It's up to you if you choose to explore around, but there is nothing of true value in this immediate area except for a couple of tricks. Instead, use this as an opportunity to practice your backstabbing, as all of these Misbegotten are very sleepy, and head to the tower off to the west. Eliminate the Misbegotten who loves the butterflies, and head up the tower. Inside the chest, you'll find the Twinblade Talisman. The Twinblade Talisman increases the final hit of combo attacks by 20%. This talisman has some use. It's tricky in this game to land a full combo, especially on a boss, and this talisman doesn't affect heavy attacks or weapon skills. However, what it does affect is power stance combos, and that's where it holds some utility. It's also quite useful when running this with a colossal weapon build, as their light attack combos are only 3 hits long. This talisman can result in some very large damage boosts, granted that you have the time and space to finish your combos. Back at the bottom of the tower, head off the broken walkway onto the gazebo-looking structure, and drop down. Near the tree, you'll find some tarnished golden sunflowers, and on the western side of the building will be a crimson scarab. Jump across the gaps until you reach the next rooftop, Here, take your time and drop down onto the rafter. Be sure to grab the smithing stone too, and then carefully drop down to the next one. Pause here and make sure that when you drop down that you're facing southwest to make your time here just a little bit easier. When you land, immediately run outside and turn around to take on the onslaught of rats that was waiting for you, as well as the sleepy Misbegotten. Inside, on a corpse, you'll find the whip. The whip, simply enough, is the blandest weapon of its type. Requiring 14 dexterity, it has the lowest overall base damage of all the whips, and it comes with the weapon skill kick. Whips are special in that they can't be parried and have a surprisingly long reach. However, aside from using this to learn how whips work, this is another disappointing item. Back outside, hook a hard left to find a final site of grace waiting for you. From this point forward, aside from the boss, there's not too much to find. There's fire arrows guarded by a big pinchy boy, and a somber smithing stone hiding behind the tower that the ladder is closest to. As for the boss, you'll face the Leonin Misbegotten. I don't have a full fight breakdown, as this boss doesn't use many tricky abilities, but if you'd like me to make one, please be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'll have it out as soon as possible. Once defeated, the reward is well worth it, as it's one of the legendary armaments of the Lands Between, the Grafted Blade Greatsword. The Grafted Blade Greatsword is the second highest physical damage dealing colossal sword in the game, and it boasts some solid strength scaling. However, you'll have to invest 40 points into strength to wield this, or a minimum of 27 if you plan on two-handing it. This weapon is very fun to play with, and its weapon skill, Oath of Vengeance, raises all of your stats by 5 for 30 seconds, and gives you increased poise for the first 1 3/4 seconds of its animation. This overall buff can be incredibly useful to push out that little bit of extra damage, or survive an otherwise deadly blow. And that's every major item to note within Castle Morne. I hope this video's been helpful for you, and since this was my first dungeon walkthrough, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if there's anything you'd like to see in future videos, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. Once again, I'm StoneBear13. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.